Hey everybody, JP here, and today we're going to get into some Randy Staub bass mixing techniques. Again, using the same track as our drum video. Let's just jump right into it, and I'll just start breaking it down. One thing I should mention first, actually, this bass track was recorded, I shouldn't say it was recorded weird. It sounds like it was either edited or had some bad punch-ins that were then merged together. So you will hear some little weird clicks and things in the track. It's only noticeable when it's soloed. It still works fine in the track, and I'll show you a couple tricks that will make any bass line fit fine in the track as well, despite those things. The DI track was overdriven to begin with, like it had a fuzz on it or something, and it just didn't sound good to me. So we're not using that at all. We've got two amp tracks. We've got like a high track and a low track. So that's the bass high track. I would guess some sort of dynamic mic, 421 or something, right on one of the speakers. And then I've copied that and added some overdrive to that with ProTools little tube screamer. And then compressing it a bit, well, quite a bit. And Pultec filter to get some bottom and some top out of there. That's all I wanted to hear on that track. And then for the high bass or the main bass track, I'm using this UAD 176, which predates the 1176. A lot of people think it's like a tube version of the 1176, but it's actually a Varimu compression design, but it's awesome plug-in. Randy is a big fan of the Retro 176 hardware unit. He loves it on vocals as well. Really adds some bottom to the sound. It's quite nice. And then I'm just doing some kind of normal SSL type stuff. I'm boosting some 900, I'm pulling out some 300, and that's really it. Oh, some extreme bottom I'm taking out, because we've got a low track as well. Let me show you what that sounds like by itself first. So this was probably like, you know, large diaphragm condenser, 47 FET or something like that on one of the speakers. And it works really well with that. So let's see. I'm filtering out a lot of top with the SSL here. And then I'm doing, this is one of those things again that my buddy told me about Randy doing that made me whip my head around, but he boosts a ton of 300 hertz into the bass. Kind of like on the Andy Wallace bass video, we were boosting like 35 or 40 hertz, and we were boosting it into the compression. See, we've got channel out on the compressor here. So big difference there. Having the compression after the EQ really smooths it out. So yeah, we're boosting 15 dB. I've actually got it at 280. I thought that sounded best on this particular track. And again, that's something that would kind of fly against conventional wisdom to me. I'd be looking to pull out mud in that area, and I am on the other bass track, but not on this one. And then we're using the Brainworx subsynth for a little bit of this 36 to 56 hertz range. Now this is modeled after the DBX Subharmonic synthesizer. It's without it. And I'm on smooth mode with this edge. You can add drive to the sound. I didn't really want to do that though. But this is a really cool plugin for like 20 bucks when it's on sale. It's fantastic. And I'm only using that one band. It's giving me exactly what I want. Going back to some old techniques from the Black Album and Motley Crue, Randy and Bob Rock used to do something called Boombox bass, and I've actually named this track Boombox. I thought that was just a funny way to call it, you know, subharmonic or sub-synth bass, whatever. No, it turns out the original DBX subharmonic units were called the Boombox. There was the Disco Boombox, a full 19-inch rack space 2-unit, and then there was a half-rack version. I believe it was the Model 100. It was called the Boombox. So I've got to think they started out using those probably before the DBX 120 rack mount unit came out. And I think a lot of people from that era still call that the Boombox unit. So I thought that was pretty cool. For years, I never knew exactly what the Boombox was, and then I learned that it was an old DBX unit. And those old, the 500 series disco boomboxes, JJ Puig has one, Dave Sardi has one. They're really cool units. I've never messed with an original, but I'd love to get my hands on one. Now, this is another trick that goes back to those early albums. And what we're doing is, hear how the attack goes away? We're sidechaining it from the kick drum. So I've got the kick drum coming down bus 19. Where is it? There it is. Bus 19 pre-fade kick drum. So this is like, a lot of EDM guys do this, where they sidechain their synth bass from the kick so that it kind of leaves room. So by doing this on the sub track, you have room in your mix to have lows from the kick and lows from the bass happening at the same time. And especially on a track like this, where the attack of the bass isn't always that consistent, this really tightens it up. And I'm only doing it on the sub, so all the attack is still on the top 2 bass channels. Actually got that a little loud now. So it's not really doing a ton. Pretty fast attack, pretty fast release. Pretty low ratio, 3-to-1 sounded best. So it keeps the attack of the bass from getting in the way of the kick or clashing with it. And I feel like this is, a lot of people think it's like some new thing with the EDM mixers, but this has been around, you know, since the 80s. And you'll hear this on the Black Album, and you'll hear it on Dr. Feelgood. So, another thing we've got here, get that kick out of there. We've got SPX 90 symphonic preset. And I know I used the Valhalla plugin for it in the Andy Wallace video, but actually in those comments, somebody told me about this. So I figured I'd try it out for this, and it sounds fantastic. Actually, I would say that I mean, I know the Valhalla's free, and this one's not. This one's about $50, I think, but this sounds more like a real thing. And so, like most from that era, Randy is a big fan of this as well. Fan of it on guitars too, which we're gonna get into. And then we've got all these bass tracks, well, except the symphonic, that's on it. That's going to the master bus by itself. But our 3 bass tracks go to a master, which has this Audioscape Kiive Stay Level plugin. And this is another Randy favorite. Randy uses the Retro Stay Level hardware unit. Again, big fat sounding Vari-Mu limiter. Really glues it together nicely, makes all those tracks sound great together. And doing a little bit of tightening up with the Pultec, like it does best. And then I'm also using the Pultec MEQ to pull out a little 200 and to boost just a little bit 700. They just So yeah, all that just works together so well. I know on some of the forums, people have talked about how Randy, or actually Randy's assistant, Zach, fixes the bass, like goes in and tunes it and edits it. I considered doing that for this, but I felt like it can definitely help consistency. Tuning bass really depends how the tracks are recorded. You really need a good pure sound for that. If you have a clean DI, you can tune it and then reamp it. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But in terms of tuning the amp track, you're getting into the weeds there. And, Randy's on a whole other level, of course. People have an expectation from him that he needs to deliver that might go beyond the production of the album, or is an equal part of it as well. I feel like I want to work with what I've been given by a producer or an artist. That's just a philosophical thing, really. Splitting out the bass, having independent lows and highs is really crucial, whether you've been given them or not. Of course, we were given 2 tracks and a bad DI. But even if you're just given 1 track, like in that Andy Wallace video, I was pretty sure that was like a Sans Amp DI track and that's all we had. There's still ways to make that work, to get these things from it. And boosting that, 280 or 300 hertz into the compressor really gives it consistency and brings out the notes, I feel like. Really emphasizes the vocalness of things, I feel like. Or like a baritone kind of thing happening. But yeah, just some cool different things. Again, there's more than one way to skin a cat, so this is just another way to do it. All right, guys, so next I think we're going to get into the guitars on here, and we're going to talk about some pretty interesting things that Randy does with guitars as well. So until then, please like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Can't wait to hear from you. Take care.